Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to store also the date in the payments table. So the day on which the payment took place. So I'm going to create a new here. I'm going to add here one column, and then I'm going to say, add after transaction ID. I'm going to click go, and then I'm going to create a new field here called payment underscore date, and it's just going to be a date. It's going to be a date, and just click on save here, save. So it's just going to store the date just like the orders here, the structure in the orders. You'll find that we have here a date time. So you can use date or date time. It's up to you. Date time is going to display the complete date, the exact hour and minutes and seconds. So you can select you can select one of them. You can select date or date time. If you want a complete description, if you want the hour and the minutes and the seconds, you can say date time. Let's use date time because you might want complete details. Now we need to, here in the complete payment, we need to pass the date. So to pass the date, we need, remember in the place order, in the place order we used this code. So we can copy this line of code, and then here in the complete payment, you can say here payment underscore date is equal to, and then the date. And then you can pass the date here. You can say order ID, transaction ID, or user ID, transaction ID, comma, payment date. And then here order ID, user ID, transaction ID, and payment date. And here I, and then the transaction, by the way, is string. It's not an integer. According to PayPal's documentation, the transaction is a string. So we need to say S, and the date is S also. It's not integer. Now let me save and let me test and see how this is going to work. So let me go to my account and let me pay for one of the orders. So I have so many orders. Let me, for example, pay for this order. Here, I think this was paid. This one was paid. So let me pay for this one. This one, let me pay here. So let me click on Pay Now, PayPal button, and let me pay now. And by the way, if user closes down this window, there is no error. So it's a great thing that the user will know that there is no error. If the user decides to pay, they just would click again on the button and it will start loading. And PayPal, by the way, is going to display an error message here automatically if something goes wrong. So you don't have to worry about this either. Because the reason is because this happens outside. You need to know that this happens outside your website. As you can see, this is a pop-up window that points to PayPal. So PayPal will take care of the errors here. Let me here click on Pay Now and see what's going to happen. So here we have an error here. It says call to a member function on Boolean. So we have a problem on line 28. So the problem here on line 28 is that I said order ID, and then user ID, and then transaction ID, and then payment date. And here I forgot to pass the question mark. I need to say here comma and then question mark. So again, this is a common mistake, but it's a simple mistake. You can figure this mistake out quickly. Let me save and test one more time. And it's great that I'm getting these errors because you will learn from these errors. So let me go back and test one more time. I'm going to go back to the order and then let me pay now. Let me click on pay now or PayPal button. Let me now click on pay now. And as you can see, payment was successful, and here it says paid. And let me check the database now. So now in the database, in the payments, we should have everything. Now we should have the date. As you can see now, it's much better. We have the date, we have the transaction, the complete transaction. According to PayPal, again, this is going to be a string. So this is why I changed this to a string, and we got the complete transaction ID. This is very important because if there is any problem, you can contact PayPal and tell them about any problem using this transaction ID, and they will find out about the problem if you want extra information using this transaction. And the user, you will know the order ID, you will know who paid for the order. Everything has been stored here. And if you go to the orders, you should find that the order ID number 11 was paid. As you can see, order number 11 paid, and the user who paid was user number 1. So now our payment system is robust and complete.